Today our topic is what Plato would say about today's society. Plato, one of the most famous philosophers in history, lived over 2,000 years ago in ancient Greece. He was a student of Socrates and a teacher of Aristotle. His ideas about life, justice, politics, and human behavior are still studied and respected today. If Plato were alive now, he would probably have a lot to say about the way we live, the choices we make, and the problems we face in modern society. Let's imagine what Plato might think about the world today and what lessons we can learn from his wisdom. First, Plato would likely be amazed by the technology we have today. In his time, people communicated through speech, letters, and simple tools. Now, we have smartphones, the internet, and social media. We can talk to anyone in the world instantly, access endless information, and share our thoughts with millions of people. But Plato might also be concerned about how we use this technology. He believed that knowledge and wisdom were the most important things in life. He might ask us, are we using technology to learn and grow, or are we just wasting time on distractions? Plato valued deep thinking and self-reflection. He might encourage us to spend less time scrolling through social media and more time reading, discussing important ideas, and improving ourselves. Another thing Plato would notice about today's society is the way we focus on material things. In his famous work, The Republic, Plato talked about the dangers of greed and the pursuit of wealth. He believed that true happiness comes from living a good and virtuous life, not from having lots of money or possessions. Today, many people are obsessed with buying the latest gadgets, wearing trendy clothes, and showing off their wealth on social media. Plato would probably say that this focus on material things is empty and meaningless. He would advise us to look for happiness in things that last, like friendship, love, and personal growth. He might tell us, don't let money and possessions control your life. Instead, focus on becoming a better person and helping others. Plato would also have strong opinions about politics and leadership. In The Republic, he described his ideal society, where rulers are wise and just. He believed that leaders should be philosophers, people who love wisdom and care about the common good. Today, many people are frustrated with politicians who seem more interested in power and money than in helping their countries. Plato would say that this is a big problem. He would argue that we need leaders who are honest, intelligent, and willing to make tough decisions for the benefit of everyone. He might also criticize the way people often vote based on emotions or popularity instead of thinking carefully about who would be the best leader. Plato would remind us that good leadership is essential for a healthy society, and we should take it seriously. Education is another area where Plato would have a lot to say. He believed that education is the key to a better society. In his ideal world, everyone would have the opportunity to learn and develop their minds. Today, education is more accessible than ever, but there are still many problems. Some schools are underfunded, and not all students have the same opportunities. Plato would argue that we need to invest more in education and make sure that every child has the chance to reach their full potential. He would also encourage us to think about what we are teaching. In his time, education was about more than just facts and skills. It was about learning how to think critically, ask questions, and understand the world. Plato might say that we should focus less on memorizing information and more on teaching students how to think for themselves. One of Plato's most famous ideas is the allegory of the cave. In this story, he describes people who are chained in a cave, facing a wall. They can only see shadows on the wall, and they believe these shadows are reality. One day, one of the prisoners escapes and sees the real world outside the cave. At first, the sunlight hurts his eyes, but eventually he realizes that the shadows were just illusions. He returns to the cave to tell the others, but they don't believe him. This story is a metaphor for how people often live in ignorance, believing things that are not true. Plato would say that many people today are like the prisoners in the cave. We are surrounded by misinformation, fake news, and shallow ideas. We need to escape the cave by seeking truth and knowledge. He would encourage us to question what we see and hear, think critically, and look for deeper meaning. Plato would also have something to say about the way we treat each other. In his time, society was divided into different classes, and not everyone had the same rights. Today we have made progress in areas like equality and human rights, but there are still many problems. Racism, sexism, and discrimination continue to exist. Plato believed in justice and fairness. He would argue that we need to treat everyone with respect and dignity, no matter who they are or where they come from. He would also remind us that we are all connected. In his view, a society is like a body. If one part is sick or hurt, the whole body suffers. We need to work together to solve our problems and create a better world for everyone. Another important idea from Plato is the concept of the soul. He believed that the soul is the most important part of a person. It is what makes us who we are. Today, many people focus on their physical appearance or their social status. Plato would say that this is a mistake. He would encourage us to take care of our souls by living a good life, being kind to others, and seeking wisdom. He might also remind us that the soul is eternal. In his view, death is not the end. The soul continues to exist after the body dies. This idea might give us comfort when we face difficult times or lose someone we love. Plato would tell us to focus on what really matters and not to be afraid of death. Finally, Plato would probably be concerned about the way we handle stress and challenges in modern life. In his time, life was simpler, but people still faced difficulties. Plato believed in the power of reason and self-control. He would advise us to stay calm and think clearly, even when things are hard. He might also encourage us to practice Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us to accept what we cannot control and focus on what we can change. Stoicism was developed by later philosophers, but it has roots in Plato's ideas. It teaches us to be strong, resilient, and grateful for what we have. Plato would say that we should not let fear or anger control us. Instead, we should face our problems with courage and wisdom. In conclusion, Plato's ideas are still relevant today. If he were here, he would probably have a lot to say about our society. He would encourage us to use technology wisely, focus on what really matters, and seek knowledge and truth. He would remind us to be kind and fair to each other, take care of our souls, and face challenges with strength and courage. Plato believed that the purpose of life is to live well and be a good person. He would tell us that we have the power to make the world a better place, but we need to think carefully and make the right choices. So, let's take Plato's advice and try to live a life of wisdom, justice, and virtue. Let's be the best versions of ourselves and create a society that Plato would be proud of.